Ever feel like everyone's always saying now's the perfect time to buy a home? Like just waiting for some kind of real estate clearance sale.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's a tempting thought, for sure.
For sure. So that's kind of what we're looking at today with this blog post.
Okay.
It's from the Kombrink Team. They're a real estate agency.
Mm-hmm.
And they titled it, boldly, "This is the sweet spot homebuyers have been waiting for."
Oh, wow.
So they're pulling in,
Yeah.
data from like Bankrate, the National Association of Realtors, the big
The heavy hitter.
heavy hitters, exactly, to kind of back up their claims.
Okay.
So we're going to do a deep dive and see, are we really,
Is this the paradise?
this is the paradise? Is it the sweet spot for home buyers?
Right, yeah.
So let's jump in. First, on their list of reasons why now might be a good time to buy, less competition.
Okay.
They're saying some buyers are holding back, waiting for mortgage rates to fall even further, so you might not have to deal with so many bidding wars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Does that hold water?
I mean, it makes sense, right? If you have less buyers, there's going to be less competition. The question is, will there be less buyers?
Right, yeah. Are people really holding back? Right.
And if rates do go down, will those buyers come back, and how quickly? It's so hard to predict.
So it's not as simple as fewer buyers, better deals then?
No, not necessarily. And then, that ties directly into their next point, which is about affordability.
Right.
Which, of course, huge for any home buyer.
Of course, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all about this recent dip in mortgage rates, suggesting that translates to, more manageable monthly payments, which
Right.
sounds great, but I'm sensing a but here.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to balance that with the fact that those lower rates could actually lead to higher home prices.
Oh, interesting.
Because if it's cheaper to borrow money...
More people are going to want to buy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Classic supply and demand.
So even if you snag that lower interest rate, you might just end up paying more for the house itself.
Right.
Doesn't sound like a clear win for buyers.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
And even the blog post acknowledges that. I think they quote an economist from NAR saying something like, this price increase can offset some of the affordability gains from lower mortgage rates.
Right.
So you really have to analyze your own situation, look at the market you're in, because a lower rate might not matter if the price of that dream home is, through the roof.
Okay, so we've got less competition, maybe. We've got this potential affordability illusion.
Right.
What's the third factor they're highlighting?
So the third thing they talk about is inventory, which,
Wait.
how many houses are actually for sale.
That makes sense.
And they're saying, and they cite Realtor.com data here, that there are more homes for sale now than any time, I think, since May 2020.
More options.
Yeah.
That's got to count for something, right? I
Yeah.
remember those horror stories of people, like, houses just flying off the market within hours.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, just
Having more choices just makes the whole process less stressful, You're not feeling pressured to settle on something that's just like, well, it's the only one.
There's the only one, yeah.
So you can actually take your time and find something that really works for you.
Yeah, I mean, having options is always good, right?
Right.
But isn't there always that risk of waiting for the absolute perfect moment to buy?
Right.
Like, what if we're all just sitting here waiting for rates to magically drop to, like, 2% again, and we miss out on something good right now?
Yeah, and that's, to their credit, the blog post does mention that. Trying to time the market perfectly.
Impossible.
It really is, especially in real estate. It's just so hard to predict.
Yeah, you're going to get burned.
Exactly.
Like trying to, I don't know.
Too many factors.
Yeah, too many factors. Like, should I buy now? What if rates drop further next month? What if prices go up? You just get stuck.
And while you're doing all that thinking, someone else is out there, like, signing the papers.
Exactly, yeah. Someone's out there making moves. So, okay, so there are some risks to just playing the waiting game.
There are.
And the blog post even, they quoted a Bankrate analyst.
Right.
Who said, if rates were to drop significantly,
Right.
it might actually fuel more competition.
Yeah, because all those people who are
waiting on the sidelines.
They're going to jump in and be like, okay, now's my chance.
Got to get in now.
And then, that could push prices up even further. So,
Right, so it kind of negates the whole, yeah.
It's a real balancing act.
It is a balancing act, yeah. But I do have to play devil's advocate for a second here, just because, we are talking about a blog post from a real estate team. And
right.
Obviously, that's their livelihood, right? Getting people to buy and sell houses.
Of course, you always have to keep that in mind.
So what are they not emphasizing here, maybe?
Well, I think, they're highlighting these national trends, which are important,
Sure.
But real estate is local.
Right.
So what's happening in, your specific city, your neighborhood, could be totally different from what's going
Totally, yeah.
on a national level.
Like if national inventory is up, but I'm looking at like the hottest neighborhood in town,
Exactly.
and there's only 3 houses for sale, it's still a seller's market, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what the national trends are at that point.
That sweet spot is not so sweet.
Exactly. And then I think, even more importantly,
Yeah.
it's like, what's your personal financial situation?
Right, right.
What are your goals? Because even if rates were crazy low and it was a huge buyer's market,
Yeah.
it might not be the right time for you to buy.
Right, right.
Maybe you're not planning on staying in the same place for very long. Maybe
That's right.
your job situation is uncertain. There's so many factors.
So much to consider. It's overwhelming. Maybe I'll just keep renting.
Well, and renting has its own, its own pros and cons.
Sure.
But I think the point is, and they touch on this a little bit in the blog post, there's no right answer.
It's more about you, not just what the market's doing, right?
Right, exactly. It's about your own finances, your goals, and really doing your research on like the specific area you're looking at.
Your little corner of the market.
Exactly.
So yeah, this blog post definitely got me thinking.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just, oh, rates are down, time to buy.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it.
A lot more, yeah.
Well, and here's something else I was thinking about, and I don't think the blog post really touched on this. What about the people selling their homes?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, how does the sweet spot look from their side of things?
Exactly. Because their definition of sweet might be very different right now.
Totally. Like, if there are more homes for sale, like we were saying, are sellers more willing to negotiate,
Right.
What do they need to be thinking about in this kind of market?
That's a whole other deep dive.
Right.
We'll save that for another time.
Exactly.
Well, this has been great. I feel like we really, unpacked this whole idea of a home buyer sweet spot.
Yeah.
Thanks for, walking us through it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always happy to nerd out about real estate.
And to everyone listening, hopefully this has given you, something to think about.
A new perspective.
Yeah, whether you're, thinking about buying or maybe selling or even just, staying put for now.
Same put, yeah.
There's a lot to consider. All right. Until next time on The Deep Dive.